I am so excited to introduce you to the Spring 2023 Virtual Showcase speakers from the Big Talk Academy. Each one of these speakers went through the 12-week certification program, which culminated in the Virtual Showcase. I look forward to hearing what you think about their big talks. Enjoy. Tricia Rose Burt is a multimedia artist and creative coach. She also hosts the podcast, No Time to Be Timid, an instructor and storyteller, speaker, also a speaker and storyteller with The Moth, the acclaimed international storytelling collective, which you all know as The Moth. She also wrote and performed the award-winning solo show, How to Draw a Naked Man. Let's please welcome to the stage Tricia Rose Burt with Finding Your Creative Courage. The riskiest thing you can do is play it safe.
Several years ago, I found a long forgotten poster I'd made when I was about 10 years old, inviting people to come see me in a play. Now, as a child, I starred in every school production and wrote half of them. As an adult, I'm a storyteller and a playwright, so you may think I've been on a stage since I was 10 years old. But between I drew that poster and now, I spent decades repressing my call to create because, like many of us, I was raised to follow the safe and predictable path. So instead of telling my stories on stage, I was conforming to family and society's expectations. In my case, conformity looked like this. If I followed all of these behaviors, like not questioning authority, going into business, never drawing attention to myself, I could look forward to approval, community, possibly even salvation. If I didn't follow these behaviors, I was convinced I would be rejected, abandoned, and die a lonely, wretched death. The stakes seemed high. So when it comes to a career, I choose public relations because the college professor told me I should. I stay behind the scenes, I write other people's stories, and I'm good at it. So I land a job at one of New York's top PR firms. One day, I'm on the phone wearing pearls and sensible pumps, pitching a promotional idea to the director of marketing for Z100, the largest radio station in New York at the time. And he says, Tricia, I'm not interested in the promotion, but you have an amazing voice for radio. Come down to the station and I'll make you a demo tape for free. For a moment, I fantasize about thousands, if not millions of people listening to my voice. And then consciously or not, I remember the Declaration of Conformity. So I say, no, thank you to a powerful radio executive who offered to make me a demo tape for free. Radio sounded fun and exciting wasn't anywhere on that flowchart. Now, I want you to think for a moment about Monty Python, the British comedy troupe known for cult classics like The Monty Python and the Holy Grail and The Ministry of Silly Walks. All of them were educated at Cambridge and Oxford, groomed for respectable careers, doctor, lawyer. But unlike me, they said no to conformity and chose creativity instead, and ended up doing for comedy what the Beatles did for music. Now, in what should be a career high, I accept a position as director of corporate communications for a financial services firm. The money and prestige are significant, but I could care less about stock trading trends. My marriage is falling apart, and I am slowly dying at my desk. Quite by accident, I find my way to an art class called Art as Process. On the first day, our instructors give us a large, thick sheet of paper and tell us we have to work on it every day for at least 10 minutes for the next 6 weeks. They don't tell us what to put on the paper. We have to decide that for ourselves. I put my sheet of paper up on the wall, stare at it, panic, and start to cry. one of the instructors comes over and sees me and says, Tricia, just ask yourself what happens if I do this, and make a mark and see what happens. So I make a tiny mark. I survive. So I make another mark and another mark. I make all kinds of marks over the course of this class using materials I've never used before: tempera paint, acrylic, charcoal. I started making small gestures and then make larger ones, filling up the entire page. Engaging in this self-expression reminds me of that artistic, fearless kid I used to be, the one that starred in every school play and drew the posters to promote them. I apply to art school, I get in, and I come alive. Art school teaches me to ask questions and embrace the unknown. It also teaches me that the Declaration of Conformity has it backwards. My approval, community, and yes, my salvation will come from taking creative risks, not from following a predictable path. It teaches me that the riskiest thing I can do, perhaps any of us can do, is play it safe. Because when we play it safe, we reject dreams, we abandon adventure, and we tempt dying, that lonely, wretched death. Art school also teaches me I'm in the wrong life. So I quit my job, divorced my husband, cash out all my retirement savings, and moved to Ireland to be an artist full-time. Family and friends are scared for me, but a priest at my church says, Tricia, everyone will tell you the cost of going. No one will tell you the cost of staying. For about the next 10 years, I tell my stories visually using materials like masking tape and tea bags. The work gets larger and larger. I'm taking up as much space as I possibly can until I realize I want to be the artwork. I want to tell my stories with my voice on stage, but I don't have the courage. I've had an idea for a solo show in my head for years. Occasionally, I say it out loud to the dog or my dashboard, but for the most part, it stays in my head until one day I see a fellow visual artist take a huge creative risk and become a performance artist. And that gives me the courage to step on stage and tell my story of transformation from a corporate executive and artist in a show I called How to Draw a Naked Man. I even tell a version of that story for The Moth. They air it on their podcast, and the reaction to that story confirms that I am not the only one who wants to lead a more creative life. More than 250,000 people download that podcast. Tens of thousands view the video, and I have so many people email me and asking me how to quit their job so they can go be even more creative in their lives. That inspires me to start a movement called No Time to Be Timid, complete with a podcast, redemption for saying no to radio all those years ago. So how do we stop playing it safe and step into our creative courage? First, challenge yourself to get out of your comfort zone. You don't have to quit your job or leave the country. You might eventually, but for now, what happens if you just take another route home? Ask yourself, what happens if I do this? Second, calculate the cost of your idea or your dream. What is the cost of going? And what's the cost of staying exactly where you are? Third, find a community that encourages your curiosity, your questions, and your creativity. There is courage in community. And the more courage we have, the more creative we can be, and the more change that we can make in our aching world. On my end, I'm kicking around some new ideas for my next one-woman show. And when it's finished, please come see me in a play.
All right. Amazing, amazing work, Tricia. Well done. Great set. You look awesome. Is that painting behind you yours?
It is.
Awesome. My suggestion would be to talk about that painting because it's in your room. It's in the frame, and being able to acknowledge something that's in the room with you that didn't exist before you actually made it as an artist connects us to you as an artist. So when you're using a prop or a set or something, make sure that we understand why it's there. Beautiful work. I love the first drawing slide. That works really beautifully. My question for you, the declaration of conformity slides, is that meant to be a joke that there's so much going on?
Oh God, yes. Yes. It's absolutely meant to be a joke that there's so much you couldn't possibly take it all in.
Okay, I would make it even bigger. Yeah, I'm not bigger like I can read it, but even more convoluted so that there's absolutely no way I can confuse. Does she really want me to read that?
Okay.
With the process of you went through all of this to get to yes or to get to no. So
Okay.
it does two things. It becomes the joke and it's more obvious. And it also creates a complete neurosis in that moment, which is what you're trying to accomplish as well in terms of a storyteller. Awesome. Conformity and creativity. I like the juxtaposition of those two words. And I think it would be interesting for you to come back to them more than once inside of this talk. Your performance skills are masterful. I'm not surprised. You do this for a living. You're a professional storyteller. I just want to highlight that. I also want to highlight, you talked about the mentor saying, or the art teacher, make a mark. Just make a mark. Now make another mark. There was possible missed opportunity here because when you are making a mark and becoming an artist, you're also making a mark in the world.
Oh.
Yeah. That may be a place where you can take us on a journey of when you step into your creativity and you make a mark, you make a mark on the world.
I was kind of trying to do that at the end when I said I told this story and all these people got attached, but yeah, I like what you're saying. Absolutely.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that you say that art school taught you so much that you left your job, you left your relationship. I think that's a very vulnerable share there. And also the idea that no one is going to tell you what you're going to lose if you stay. That is a real important moment for us to kind of be slapped in the face with there. It's really good. The courage to be creative is really important as a through line here. And it informs us that we, based on your story, we can tap into our creativity, but it is going to require courage. No time to be timid. That was interesting. And I'm not sure we need it because at the end, it's almost like you're listing all of the things that you've done as an artist. And what I want you to really think about is how do you inspire us to step outside of our comfort zone? And you almost do it at the end when you talked about comfort zone, the cost of going versus staying. But what's happening is you are competing with that blurry slide that is next to you. We don't need it. All of the things that are on that slide are not exactly what you're saying. So we're trying to read the slide. We're trying to listen to what you're saying.
Oh, is this the quotation slide?
Yes.
Okay.
We don't need that slide at all. And it gives us the impact of what it is you're saying so that we can fully be inspired to move beyond our conformity and into our creativity. Be mindful of how you wrap up so that it's about us, not about you. And I love that you're inviting us to see your show, but it really, really can be more about how you're supporting us in terms of stepping into our creativity and why that will benefit us. Because you've already inspired us based on your story. Now it needs to wrap up based on how you're serving us. Yeah. Amazing work. Thank you so much for tuning in to the virtual showcase speakers of the 2023 spring cohort. I would love to hear what you think about each of their talks. And if you desire to speak on my big stage, head on over to thebigtalkacademy.com and register today. Remember, your voice matters. Big love. Mwah.